Inland Sports.
And I kind of teased this interview near the beginning of the show because we're really excited about it. Corona boys basketball joined us live here on the show. We got head coach Chris Maffucci, of course, and then Ian Plinski will be joining us as well. And coach, first off, I love to just follow along on social media and see what people are talking about, what people are sharing. And I saw this video, and it was awesome. It was Ian scoring his first basket since his freshman season. Ian now a senior because he had been battling leukemia, and I think you posted saying it's more about wins and it's much more than just wins and losses. These are the kind of moments that, as a coach, as a program, as a school, that you really get excited about. Tell us about just that moment that Ian scored that basket and what it meant for the team and the program to see Ian come all the way back to just get on the court again and play.
Yeah, it was special. We had our student section was on me, I think, since the first quarter to put Ian in, and we got a big lead, and Ian went in the fourth quarter, and the kids have been chanting for him all night to get in, and then he gets in, and he scores the basket, and just the reaction from our student section and our bench. I mean, our bench is just going crazy, and everybody knows what Ian's been through. So this is just a huge thing. Just for him to be back on the court's huge, but then for him to go score, it was special, and for him to do his first basket at a home game in front of our crowd was even better.
Well, Ian, let me ask you then, what was that moment like, knowing, that you were able to get back to the court, score a basket, and, contribute to the team and just be part of the team?
No, the moment was really incredible. I just feel truly blessed to be cured and playing again. But all the love from especially the student section at Corona, but all the love just from my teammates and everyone and the coaches, it felt really good to do it.
So, Ian, if people are watching at home, they could probably see a little bit of that basketball hoop you have on the wall behind you. I take it you love basketball.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely a passion. It's definitely more than a passion.
So, Ian, walk me back, the last 3 or 4 years for you. How were you first diagnosed, and, how long were you away from the game of basketball, and what did it mean to you to have basketball in your life again?
So I was diagnosed going into my sophomore year. I feel like I was an amazing athlete. I was really in shape. I was outrunning most of my teammates because football just conditioned us. But playing basketball was truly my passion. So when I switched over to basketball, the endurance from football really helped. But I noticed a lot of changes. I stopped being able to run. I stopped being able to play the full game. I needed to take a lot more breaks and stuff like that. So we knew something was wrong. And at first we just thought it was COVID because it was COVID.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And when I finally went to the doctors and got tested, they were like, wow, these numbers are insane. Like, we got to hospitalize you immediately because you're close to dying. And so they hospitalized me, and they told me that it was actually CML, which was a very rare form of cancer in children. It's like an old lady cancer. So they diagnosed me, and they said that it was actually pretty treatable. So my sophomore year, I was actually able to play basketball. But it was on and off because of all the appointments, and life was just chaotic at the time. So it was hard to manage both aspects of life. But then for junior year in 2021, my cancer mutated. So they said if it mutated again, there wasn't going to be any medication that was going to save me this time. So I needed a transplant. So luckily we found a donor and we got the transplant. The transplant went great. And then I was coming back.
Ian, real quick, just so everyone has the full story, a transplant for what exactly?
For leukemia, a bone marrow transplant.
Bone marrow, got it.
And then I think a blood infusion as well.
All right, go ahead. Pick up the story from there.
Yeah. So after that bone marrow transplant, it hit me pretty hard. I was bedridden for 8 weeks, and so coming out of that, I lost a lot of my strength. And it was like I noticed kind of fighting to walk up the stairs and stuff like that. And then a couple weeks later, I caught COVID, and then I caught a fungal pneumonia and a bacterial pneumonia, and that hospitalized me for another 8 weeks. And that one brought me to like the edge of death right there, because I spent like 3 or 4 weeks in the ICU, and it was just a very chaotic experience. And since it was COVID, my parents weren't allowed to be with me
Oh man.
because of the COVID protocol. So I spent a lot of that time alone, which I guess it had its ups and downs, I guess.
Well, what do you do to
And
what do you do
so,
to spend, to just make the time go
I
by?
mean,
You can't see your folks. You just watch a lot of TV
yeah,
and.
I mean, fantasy was a good one. Fantasy kept me pretty active. So fantasy, 2K, of course, on the Xbox.
Just normal kid
Um,
stuff, right? Just doing kid stuff.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Just trying to pass the time, not thinking about it.
Wait, so how hard was it for your parents? I mean, like, obviously, this was like the worst, thing with
Oh
COVID going
my,
on, and they can't be in the hospital with you, and like, I can't imagine. I've got little kids. I couldn't imagine not being
yeah,
with them
no,
during
it,
something
it
like that.
definitely took a huge impact on my parents, to the point where my mom even got rules changed at the hospital. So she went to battle for me. So
That's a good
I'm so
mom.
appreciative of that. Yeah, really, the best.
Well, Coach, let me ask you. Let me go back to you on this one, Coach. So you finally get Ian back, and again, basketball can teach you a lot of lessons in life. It's bigger than just wins and losses. What did it mean to the team and the program to see Ian fight through and just the strength he showed, the perseverance he showed? I mean, there's probably a lot of lessons you could learn through Ian's journey. Is that right, Coach?
Well, to be honest, it started back in August or September, or probably July. I contacted, I'd be in touch with Ian, obviously, throughout the whole situation with him. And I text him, I'm like, Ian, do you want to play this year? And he's like, Coach, you don't want me. I'm like, Ian, I don't expect you to come back and be an All-Americans. And Ian, if you want to be on the team, there's a spot for you. You're going to play. I don't care if you can't make it to practice. I'm going to give you this opportunity. You're going to be a normal kid again. And so, it's not like, Ian will tell you he's not like he can come to practice and practice for 2 hours every day right now. We practice in the mornings, and most days he doesn't even make it. And the other days he makes it, he'll start at practice, and he spends most of his time over a trash can still, because he's still getting through things, and he can explain that more. But he told me a few weeks ago, he goes, Coach, it's like I'm pregnant. I'm like, I have morning sickness every day since they switched medications on me. So every day is not like a normal kid going to school for him. So the kids on our team know that, they know what it's like for him every day. He's still not like one of them as far as everyday life. So the fact that, he got back in the game, and like I said, he scored again the other night our game last night, same kind of reaction. But yeah, I mean, honestly, I watched that video. I sent it out to our staff, and the reaction, and obviously got tons of reactions on Twitter and other social media. But I mean, the first time it happened, I got a little emotional just watching him, and just seeing the reaction from the kids. And I've seen that video probably 100 times now. Just seeing watching the kids' reaction, and that's what high school basketball is all about. It's not all about always winning a CIF title. There's so many other life lessons and just journeys and stories to tell, and something that his teammates will remember this for the rest of their lives.
So Ian, let me go back to you. So you return to the team and you score that first basket. Do you feel like you're kind of settling into some normalcy now? Like, hey, I'm just another guy on the basketball team trying to win some games. Do you feel like life's kind of getting back to normal again for you?
Definitely, it's definitely starting to get back to normal, because even this time last year, I was again in the hospital and dealing with the COVID and everything. So just to even be able to be on the court is huge for me. So I'm definitely not back to normal, but I'm starting to feel more like normal.
Now, you're at school, you're on the basketball team, you're not, stuck in a hospital by yourself. I'm sure, go
Yeah,
back 365 days, like you mentioned, it's just a completely, changed aspect on life right now for you.
yeah, big time. It definitely changed my outlook on life as well. I look at the world completely different.
Do you appreciate things more? Like, I don't know what,
Yeah,
maybe that's a loaded
definitely.
question, but do you feel like, man, I love just being around the
No,
guys. I
that's
love being
not.
on the
I
basketball
definitely
team.
appreciate stuff a lot more. Like a lot more. Like I, coach will tell you, I don't get that many minutes on the court, but when I do get on the court, I'm so happy I'm on the court, and I'm just so like appreciative that I get to play.
Are you excited just to be back at school? Are you excited for homework and finals and all that stuff too?
No, a little bit. You missed that a little bit too.
Well, Ian, I got to ask you, because I got two big dogs at home. I got to ask you, what kind of dog, and what's the dog's name back there?
That's Koa, and she's kind of we think she's a Rhodesian Ridgeback, but she's kind of mixed.
It's a beautiful dog.
Thank you.
Well, Coach, let's wrap it up like this. You guys are off to a good start this season. What kind of goals do you have for the Panthers this year?
Our goal, number one goal is always to get to the playoffs. Last year we got to the second round of the playoffs, and we had a ton of seniors last year, so we only had one kid returning this year. So all these kids are very, very inexperienced at the varsity level, and they're starting to grow. Though we've been playing better as of late, so we're just kind of trying to ride the momentum. We've had a couple nice home games, and we're gonna finish up the next couple of weeks with a bunch of non-league, and then head off on our annual trip. We're going up to Santa Maria this year, and hopefully do well up there and get ready for the gauntlet of the Big Eight of what it is. But kids are working hard, and that's all I can ask for them.
And finally, I'll go back to Ian. Ian, just the fact that, when I asked Coach about goals for this season, I had assumed, you've reached one of your goals, just getting back on the court and being with the team again. How much fun are you enjoying this season so far?
No, it's a lot of fun. Like, even though I'm not playing, just the camaraderie and the brotherhood of the teammates, I miss that so much.
Well, Ian, listen, I really appreciate the interview, and Coach Maffucci as well. Listen, I really appreciate it. I was really excited to see that video on Twitter being shared quite a bit, and it's our big boost play of the week. I'll make sure I share it out there on Instagram and Twitter as well. And congrats on the great start too, Coach. I'm glad you guys are winning some games and looking strong so far. And right, the Big 8 League is brutal, but you guys are off to a great start. So thank you, Ian. Thank you, Coach. Really appreciate the time for this interview.
Thanks for having us, Pep. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much.
You got it. That is Ian and Coach Maffucci here on the Inland Sports Show. Thank you so much, guys. And again, congrats on the early season success here. And hopefully they can keep things going.